Hi guys, it's Sally. Going to work in my Dylusions. This is the large Dylusions journal, and trying to decide this morning what I wanted to do. You know how that goes. It's like so many possibilities. What shall I do today? So as per my usual, I'm kind of flying by the seat of my pants and taking you guys along for the ride. So I grabbed my Dylusions Journal Block. It's the 9x5. You can see that, the acrylic block by Dylusions. I use this all the time for rubber stamping. It has the ruler, it has the scalloped edge. But anyways, I just put this down on this page and marked a line, and then you have to move it down and line it back up again to get the bottom. So I cut the page here, just kind of thinking about sort of a little waterfall effect, maybe something that'll go span across the pages. So then I took the piece that I cut off, which was right. It was here, I promise. It was here. Okay. Took that, and I just took my scoreboard, lined it up here, and scored down the edge at 1/4 of an inch, and then turned it around and finished that. And that way I can, rather than this getting lost in my stash somewhere, I can put this in here, I think, using double-sided tape. And I'm going to just butt it right into the spine, and then I will have two pieces here from cutting just the one page. And I kind of like this hourglass effect that it makes right there. So I'm going to get my red, skinny red double-sided tape, this one, and just run a piece down here and stick it in there and see if it works, if it'll hold. I think it will. I'm going to give it a go. Okay, that worked. It's in there. The trick will be how well it holds up under all the wet media that I have a tendency to use. But I think if I gesso over it or put matte medium over it before I do anything else wet, hopefully it'll stay. And if it doesn't stay, then we punt and do something else, right? So now I'm trying to decide if I want to go another round with this and cut one more tier. Maybe I'll just take the very edge off. Then we'll have this kind of wide, cool piece right here. That's what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to come almost to the edge, mark it down there, then just slide it down until it lines up again, and mark it the rest of the way, just like that. And then just trim that edge off. really like to turn my paper when I'm cutting as opposed to turning my scissors, but being that it's in this book, it's a little more difficult to do that. So we're just gonna make do there. And that'll be used somewhere, I suppose, because you know me, far be it from me to throw anything away, because you never know when you might need it, right? Now we're ready to rock and roll. So now to decide what on earth to do next. And I'm just going to turn back here. If you were with me when I did this page that I told you I dreamt about, this one, and I hadn't done anything on the opposite side, so just as a little follow-up here, I'll show you. I did a companion side that, I don't know if I can see both of these on camera here. These kind of match, but I turned this, flipped this one to go the opposite direction. And rather than use the modeling paste, I just used a metallic paint here. And some stenciling in the background, some of these matching music pieces here. And then when it was all done, I just stamped on here, "She awoke from her dream," and made it come true, since that was the dream I had. If you didn't watch the other video, and I'll link it in the iCard, I dreamt about a playing card and using a playing card somehow in a piece of artwork. So I just kind of forced that whole playing card thing, and here's the pieces of the heart playing card, and I just stamped on top of it. So anyways, that's how I finished that off. So I just thought I would let you see in case you wondered what I ever did with that. Okay, I am going to stop the camera and kind of decide where I'm going next. Okay, I'll be back. Working on the full sheet side here, and I know you guys think I don't ever plan, and most of the time I don't, but when I want a full background of collage papers, I do sort of plan. I mean, I went through all my tea-dyed papers because I want this sort of color, that grungy, yellowy, old-looking color. And so I ripped up a bunch of pieces and kind of placed them on so that I can see if I like the placement, even though most of it's going to get covered up, but some of it will show through. So I just kind of placed them where I liked them. That's it. So I'm just going to use matte medium and glue it all down and give it a coat all over the whole top and wait for it to dry. And while it's drying, I will decide, or kind of decide, or maybe decide what I'm going to do on top of it. I kind of have an idea for the next layer, not for the whole thing, because I never know where the whole thing's going to go. I just kind of let it tell me where it's going to go. And for me, that's the way I like to work. That's kind of the essence of my style of art. Just very intuitive. So sometimes I plan the whole thing out, but rarely. So, okay, I'm going to glue these down, and I'll be back when it's all dry and I know where I'm going next. All my papers are glued down with matte medium and then a coat of matte medium over the entire page on top. I decided to take, excuse me, this drywall tape. It just comes in a roll like this, super cheap if you haven't used it. It's really fun, and there's lots of ways you can use it. But I just cut a piece, and if you can see, I started midway here, but then I went all the way across all three pieces that I cut on this side across the bottom. And I'm going to put modeling paste in here and then pull this tape up. So I left a little tab over here where I can grab it. So that's what I'm going to do now, and that'll take a little while to dry. Just modeling paste on a spatula, and just wherever you want it, as thick, as thin as you want it, across the tape. And when I take the tape off, we're just going to have a cute little, well, you'll see. And then just carefully pull the tape up. And the tape is adhesive on one side, but it's not a super strong adhesive, which is nice because it makes it easy to get it back off again. And you can probably see on the side where the papers are the cool texture that you get. And I like it when it kind of trails off. It's not super even everywhere. And it's really thick in here in this corner, so I'm just going to kind of push that down and smooth it out a little. Otherwise it will just probably crack there when it's dry. It's just too thick, where the tape wasn't laying totally flat in the crease of the pages. Okay, I'm going to get this started with the hair dryer and then let it air dry for a while. I decided that I want to use some of this rusty cheesecloth that I made. I love the color of it. I love the texture that it gives, so I just go in and kind of pull it until I make little holes and fray out the edges. Just make it grungier than it already is with the rust on it. And I think I'm going to end up going across to this piece, maybe, and then maybe I'll bring some over onto this piece. But I need to get some color down on both of these pages to kind of bring the look together and establish a palette. So in going with the yellow, the reddish color that's on the papers, the collage papers, I'm going to use burnt sienna, transparent yellow iron oxide, and Quinacridone nickel azo gold in the Deco Art Media fluid acrylic. I'm just going to drag it down both pages to get some color on there and bring some cohesiveness to the pages. So I'm just going to start with a credit card, and I'm going to use the Quinacridone nickel azo gold, which is transparent, on this page so that we can still see. And there'll be more that goes on top of this, but I don't want to obliterate all of these papers right away. So I'm going to start with this over here. And this modeling paste is not completely dry, so I'm kind of going to avoid that pretty much right now. Give it a chance to dry some more. Then I'm going to pick up a little bit of the yellow ochre and kind of let that mix in. And give it just a little bit more of a golden color in some of these areas. I'm probably going to have to get a brush to get down in these spots where the paper isn't really covering the paper of the journal page. Alright, everything's gessoed and dry, so I'm going to have to get more paint out now, and we'll go for this again here. And while I was drying that, I thought I would like to have a different color be predominant on each of these three. It'll be a color that'll be used everywhere, I mean across the whole thing, but, sorry for the crackle, I'm just going to protect that part while I do this part much better. I'm going to get in that crack here in this seam of the journal pages. That little white spot doesn't want to get covered up. Alright. I'm starting to think this is going to be a series because I don't think I'm going to get this all done in one video. So that's probably what I will do. Okay, I think that is enough to bore you with for one video. I will decide what I'm going to do here for the actual design of these pages and figure it all out, and then I'll come back in a second video and clue y'all in. Let's just see what's going on and we'll finish it up. So I think we're just going to call this Waterfall background something or other. I'm not sure. We'll see. But thanks for joining me. If you liked this and you weren't bored to tears, give it a thumbs up. And if you want to watch the video that I did when I rusted watercolor paper and cheesecloth, that will be linked at the end. And I think I'll leave you with a couple of artist tips for today, both about being sticky or not being sticky. Not being sticky is what we want. So, you know, when you have your jars of, you know, media or whatever it might be, and you've used them a few times and you get stuff around the edges where it gets sticky, and then like you need a crowbar and 3 strong men to open it. If when you're done, take Vaseline. I just have an old tube of Carmex because I won't put it on my lips anymore. Vaseline, Carmex, even a chapstick will work. Run it around the outside edge into the grooves and the inside edge of your lid. Obviously I didn't do that on here, but it will prevent your media from causing your lid to stick. That's tip number 1. Tip number 2, when you have pages in your journal and you've put all kinds of media on them and acrylic paint and sometimes they have a tendency to stick together, and sometimes they'll even pull pieces off, which is a real bummer, right? Take some natural beeswax furniture polish. I love Daddy Van's. It's all natural beeswax. It has absolutely no smell. Just take a little bit, cover your pages, wait about, not a minute or less, and then just take a soft, like a microfiber cloth, a soft cloth, and just gently buff it, and your pages won't stick together anymore. It leaves a tiny little bit of a sheen. It's not glossy at all. It just gives it just kind of a nice soft sheen. So if you don't want a sheen, you might not want it, but I love it, and it really protects your art. If you were to spill something, it would do a lot less damage to your pages as well. So those are my tips. Hope you can use them. See you next time. Go make some art. Bye.